Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully removed our item from to the cart, right? So now I want to work for our quantity option. So into this quantity area, if you want to decrease your quantity, you can decrease it. And also if you want to increase this quantity, then you can increase it. So how can do that work? In this video, I will show you that things with a live example. So for doing this, first of all, we have to create two of this function. One will be for our increase one, that will be our decrease, right? So go to our view, that means in our app order, into the app order, into the view area. So here also we have to define that as a logging required. So after this, I want to create another function. So I just name it as a logging required, and here after this I define that our function name as the increase cart. Okay, I just name it as the increase cart. And also it should be increased with our request, and also they have the product, right? So that means this ID will be needed. For the reasons here, I have defined another ID as a PK, that means the primary key. And after that we have to do the same things. We have to get our item. So I just name it as an item, and then our get object. So get object or 4, that means if we get this object, will we get it, and then it should be displayed that 4, that means a 404. And then I define our product, that means from our product model we have to get it, and then our ID, I just simply define as ID will be as our requested ID, right? So this will be just like that same concept, right? So here we have already defined that part. So that's for the remove product. So also here we have to increase this our specific product. For the reasons here, I load our model, that means our product model. And after that we have to get our our object order data. So I take one of the variable as a order, okay, order queries. So I just simply define as a QS, and then our order, and from to the order we have to define our objects, and into the objects I want to filter it. So I just simply define as a filter, and filter will be our user will be our requested user. So it should be check it, that is requested user. And also we have to check our order, that means our order is false or not. That means here I have defined as a ordered, and ordered will be as a false. Okay, so here I define as a false. So friend, I think you already know about that concept. That means with this we actually define our all that pending, all that orders. That means if you go to our order, into the order area, you can see that is actually our pending order. That means there is totally uncompleted, right? So when it should be completed, that means when this product will be completely sold out, then it should be make as a true, that means order, right? So right now I just make our false all that order, and then also we have to define one of the condition if this order is already exist. So I just simply, if this our order, that means our all the pending orders, when it should be as exist. Okay, so it exist. So here there is, if this as a exist, then we have to get this our order object, right? So if you want to get it, so I want to convert it with the order, and then our this existing order object I have to define with the 0. So I just simply get it on here, that means in our 0 position, right? So all that our pending order, I get it in particular that area. So now we have to define our cart, right? So that is our cart product will be needed. So right now I also want to get our all that cart object. So if you want to do that work, after this I just simply define as if our order, and then the same concept as the order items, and then I want to define the filter. So with this filter, it should be check our item is the appropriate same item it or not. So that means our item should be the same, item will be as item. That means it should be check our this order, that means this order item, and here this item actually the same it or not. Okay, so here it should be first of all check it with this item is equal to item, and also here after that we have to define that exist. So when this order will be same and when it should be as a exist, then I want to get our cart. I just take as a order item, and here I define our cart class. From to the cart class I have to define that objects, and then our filter. So I have to filter it, and here we have to define the same concept. It should be matched with the item, Okay, it should be matched with the item will be equal to item. So here I just simply define as item will be item, our user will be our requested user, and also there is another one of purchased, right? There is a purchase will be as a false. So I just simply define as a false, and after that I already get our our order object data with this. So here I just simply pass it. Okay friend, so now we have to define our update this quantity field. So here I define as if our order item, that means this order item. Okay, if this order item, here I define as our quantity. When our field name, so our field name I have defined, that is our quantity. So here I just simply define our quantity field. Okay, when it should be quantity will be as a greater than equal. So I just simply define as greater than equal 1. So when it should be as a greater than equal 1, then it should be updated that quantity. So I just simply define as a order underscore item, this order item quantity field. So this order item quantity field will be updated as a +1. Okay, that means a plus equal and then 1. That means one quantity will be updated, and when it should be one quantity updated, then I want to save this our order item data. So that is our order underscore item order item data, and to save it, so I just simply save. And after that save, I want to also define some of the message. So with these messages, I define the tag will be as an info tag. So info tag, so into the info area here, that will be as a request. And also here, if you want to display your message with a specific this item name, that means this product name, you can also defining it. So if you want to defining it, then you have to define as a F, and into the F area here you have to declare your item name. So I define our item into the item, that is our name, right? So if you go to our model, so you can see that is actually our card, that is our card item. So into this card item, I want to define with our product. So into the product area, so into the product area, that is our field name as a name, right? So now I want to actually access it as an item name, and then it should be display as an item name, that means our product name, and then quantity. Okay, quantity has been updated. So this type of one of the message it should be display. And after that I want to return it. So I just simply define as return redirect to our it should be return redirect to our maybe I just define as a cart page. Okay, so for the cart I have already defined that our link that is in our app underscore order. Into the app order I want to pass it to the cart, that means the cart page. Okay friend, and else what exactly it should be do? Else, so I just simply define as else, it should be show the same message. So that means this type of one of the message it should be display. So here I define as a message info request our item name, and with this item name it should be display as a is not in your cart. So this type of one of the messages should be display, and after that it should be redirect to our that means when it should be as empty, then it should be redirected to our home page. Okay, so I just simply define our home, that means in our app underscore shop, into the app shop our home. So I just simply define as a home. Okay, and else, so else it should be show the another message. So I just simply define the messages and define the tag as the info. With this request I want to pass some of the text as a you. Okay, you don't have an active order. Okay, that's this type of one of the messages should be display, and also it should be displayed in our home. So I just simply define the redirect to our home, that means in our app shop, into the app shop the home, it should be redirected to our specific this home page. Perfect. So that's all for our increase, and also we have to create another one for the decrease. Okay, so better after this I want to create another function on, also it should be as a logging required. So I just simply define the logging required, and concept will be just like that same. Here I define as a decrease. Okay, decrease cart. So this type of one of the function I want to create. Also it should be request, and here also you have to pass that our primary key, and then here we have to define our item. Just like that same concept, here will be as a get object, that means get object or 404, and with this here we have to access our product model. So our product model, and also here it should be matched with our product ID with our requested ID, that means our PK. Okay, and then I take one of the variable as a order underscore, same name as a queries. Okay, and here we have to define our order model, and from the order model objects will be needed, and then I want to filter it, and then when our user will be user, and user will be our requested user, so I just simply define as a requested user. And then also here we have to define our order, right? That is same as ordered will be as a false, so I just simply define as a false. And then also here we have to define that with the condition if our order underscore this queries, when it should be as a exist. So as I told you, it's just like that same concept. Okay, that means when it should be as a exist, then we have to check it. That means first of all here we have to get all that our order data to the object area. So I just simply define as order, and our order all that queries I want to take that things with our 0 object. So here I just simply defining it, and after that I define that our if condition, if our order and then our order item. Okay, order items, that means the same things. Okay, there is one our order item, then I want to filter it. So I want to filter with our item will be the same as item, right? And then also here we have to define that as a exist it or not. So I just simply define as a exist, so it's a exist, right? And then we have to define get our all that our card object data. That means here also we have to defining it. So I just simply define the order underscore item. You can see, friend, that's actually the same concept actually what exactly we did on here. So now we have to only updated our this condition. Okay, so that's all we have to do, rather than everything will be there just like that same. So I just simply define the order item, and into the order item area I define as a cart with our cart model, the objects, and then the filter, and then it will be filter with the item will be as an item, and also user will be our requested user, right? And also the purchase, because in our cart it should be check or it's actually purchase, and that means the purchase it should be as a false. So I just simply define as a false, and also here I want to pass our this object, that means our order object data. So I just simply pass it on here. Okay, and then we have to put that condition in our quantity field. So I just simply define as if our order underscore item, with this order item there is our quantity field. Okay, that is a quantity field when it should be as a greater than 1. When it should be as a greater than 1, then it should be as a this order underscore item, this order item I want to minus it. So that means with our order item we have defined that quantity, our quantity will be minus, so minus equal to 1. So that is actually the condition we have to apply, and after that the same we have to define save that our order item. So I just simply save it. Okay, and after that when it will be saved I want to show some of the message. So with the messages I define as the info tag, and into the info tag area that will be as a request, and with the F, that means the product name I want to visible. So if you want to visible that product name, it should be as an item, and with this item I want to access that name, and then it should be show as a quantity. Sorry, so quantity has been updated. So this type of one of the message will be visible, and then it should be also return redirect. So return redirect to our cart page. So here I also want to pass it in our app order, into the app order, that is our cart, right? So I want to pass it on here, and else. So friend, I'm not explaining it because of all that is actually the same concept, right? So now here, before we did that work, before we save it, and now we are only updated our this quantity portion. So that is actually our quantity portion I have just updated. And else here I want to do when it should be as a minus, that means when it should be as a 0. So here I want to do when it should be as a 0, then I want to remove this product from our this cart area. Okay, so here when it should be as a 0, that means it doesn't mean anything. So when it should be as a 0, automatically our this product I want to remove from our cart area. Okay, so for the reasons here I want to do into the else area. So when it should be a minus, then it should be as a showing as a quantity has been updated, and when it should be as a 0, that means else into the if another condition into the else area I want to do with this order and our order item. Okay, so with these order items I want to do and to remove it. So I just simply define as a remove. So with the remove, and here or it should be remove our this order, that means this order item. So I just simply remove this. Okay, and then I want to do and to delete this this order item. So I just simply define as an order item. So this order item will be deleted. So I just simply define as a delete function. And then also it should be show some of the messages as a warning. I just name it as a warning tag, and then the request. And here also if you want to show that product name, then you can defining it with the item. And then the name, that means the item name, and after that I define as the item has been removed from your cart. So this type of one of the message it should be displayed, and after that it should be redirected to our cart page. Okay, that means better when it should be reduced, that means when it should be deleted, then it should be redirected to our this same cart page. So here it should be redirected to our same page. So I just simply define the return and then redirect, and redirect in our app, that means in our app underscore order into the app order, it should be redirected to our cart page. So I just simply define as a cart page. Okay friend, and then another else I want to define. So that is will be another else, and else it should be show some of the another message. So I define as a messages, and then info, and then the request. So I just simply define that request, and then I want to display some of the message as you don't have an active order. Okay, active order. So this type of one of the messages should be displayed, and then it should be directed to our home page. So I just simply define the return, and then our redirect, and then it should be redirected to our home, that means in our app shop. Into the app shop it should be redirected to our home page. Okay friend, so that's all you have to do. Here I have updated our this function. So that is our locking required function. So that is our decrease one, and that is our increase one, right? So now we have to actually call it. We have to call it in our this cart page area. So better I want to do and to continue this process, and in our next video we'll apply this link, and we have to also create some of the URL for this one, and then we have to add that URL in particular that button area. So how can do that work? In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.